Hey everybody, it's Mr. Eason here, and today is our very first homework help video. Today we're going to be talking about finding factors of numbers. This is something that we practiced in class by using tiles and trying to arrange them in different rectangles, and now we're trying to move to the point where we can do it without having tiles. If you still need to use tiles or some kind of counter, you can definitely do that. It doesn't have to be tiles, it could be Lego pieces or anything else that you have a certain number of and you can arrange into rectangles. But I'm going to be showing you how to do it without having rectangles. So we're going to start with a number that is pretty easy to work with. We're going to start with the number 12, and we're going to try to find all of the different arrays that make 12. Another way you can think about this is all the different multiplication equations that equal 12. A third way you can think about it is listing every number you can count by and land on 12. So we're going to kind of think about all of those as we work through here. So if we're going to think about finding factors of 12, the very first factor pair we could think about would be 1 times 12. Every number always has a 1 by itself fact, and so that's just a good one to start with. That way you don't forget it. The next thing we practiced in class is after you've checked the 1, which we know works, you should always check 2 to see if you can count by 2s and land on the number. In this case, since it's an even number, we know that there is a 2 fact that works. And so you could either know 2 times blank equals 12, or you can count by 2s and see how many times it takes you to get to 12. In this case, it is 6. 2 times 6 equals 12. The next number I need to check would be the next number in order, would be 3. So you're either thinking, can you count by 3s and land on 12, or can you think of a 3 multiplication fact that equals 12? 3 times blank equals 12. This time I'm going to count by 3s. 3, 6, 9, 12. And I have my fingers up showing that I counted by 3s 4 times. So another fact that I can write is 3 times 4. So what happens now is I am finished thinking of all the factor pairs for 12. What you can look at and notice here is that 1 and 12 are kind of far apart. 2 and 6 are a little closer together. 3 and 4 are consecutive numbers, meaning they are right next to each other on a number line. Since they are right next to each other, that means that I can be finished because my numbers have met. They're getting close to a square shape. I don't need to check 5 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or 11. As my numbers get closer and closer together, that means I am finished. So let's take a look at another number and let's see if we can find the factor pairs of that number. Before we do that, I do want to add one last note. Sometimes, if people want, they could rewrite those numbers in order. The factors of 12 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. And what I thought of here, the way I just arranged those is in order from smallest to largest. I can look 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 12. All right, so now let's look at the next number we're going to check. We have lots of factors. That means that this number is a composite. The number 13. So we're thinking about ways we can make 13. One way we can always make a number is do a 1 by itself number. And so the next thing you're doing is you're thinking about other multiplication facts that could work. So then you start at the 2. I know that I cannot count by 2s and land on 13 because 13 is an odd number. You cannot count by 2s and land on any odd number. So 2 is out. I do need to check 3. So let's see. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. I skip right over 13, so 3 does not work. I need to check 4. Well, I know 4 isn't going to work because it's an even number and can't count by an even number and land on an odd number. Now I check 5. I know 5 won't work because if a number is a factor of 5, or I'm sorry, if a number is a multiple of 5, it has to end in a 5 or a 0 because you go 5, 10, 15, skip right over that 13. You can check every number from 1 to 13 if you really want. What I would suggest is I would stop after checking 6 because 6 is about half of 13. And I know 6 won't work because, once again, 6 is an even number, and I can't count by even numbers and land on odd numbers. That means that the only way to make 13 in a rectangle is a 1 by 13 rectangle. It only has one pair of factors. There is a special name we learned for these words that you might remember, but that word is prime number. Only has 2 factors. If you go back and look at the other screen, and this number is prime. So let's do a quick practice. We're going to look at 2 more numbers and try to find the factor pairs of them. So let's start with 7, and then we'll check 24 after that. 7, you obviously know that 1 by 7 is a way to make 7, because 1 times 7 is a fact. You know that 2 will not work because it's not an even number. 3, if you count by 3s, it will not work. And 4 will not work because it is an even number. That is it. 1 by 7 is the only way you can make 7. So now we move on and talk about 24. We think about the one that always works, 1 by 24. Then we check 2, since that's the next number we always check. And since it's an even number, I know 2 will work. Counting by 2s. Also thinking about what half of 24 is might be helpful there. It's 12. Now I check a 3. Counting by 3s does get you to 24. It is 3 times 8. Then I check 4. 4 also works, 4 by 6. Now notice, 4 and 6 are not exactly consecutive. They're not next to each other. There's a number in between, which means I need to check 5 to make sure it does or doesn't work. You might know 5 doesn't work because 24 does not end in a 5 or a 0. But if you didn't, you could always check and count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Skipped right over 24. So that is all the factor pairs of 24. What that means is we could write out our list of factors, 1 and 7. The list of factors over here would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. Since 7 only has 2 factors, it is prime. Since 24 has more than 2 factors, it is composite. Excuse me. So this has been some help finding factors of numbers. Hopefully this helps out on your assignment if you were a little stuck. This has been Mr. Eason. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you next time.